I had to do this one. I had to do this one, alright. Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar's second studio album, absolute legend in the game. One of my favourite artists. He dropped this in 2012, same year that my son was born. And the reason why I'm doing this, I'm going to do this one in two parts of a review with the Good Kid, Mad City, because the amount of hip hop fans that have been talking to about this album, and they were saying it was one of their favourite albums, but a lot of them didn't actually understand the little story that was happening in the background. Now, for real hip hop lunatics like myself that are just mad into hip hop and what the artist is trying to do with the album to the listener, and the story that goes on behind it, I'm going to explain it, right? Because I've talked to a few people about this and they don't know. So this is this an album with 12 tracks on it, but there's also a little story going on in the background as well, right? So there's 12 tracks on it, but there's also, like, you could say that they're skits, but he doesn't have them written down as skits on the album, but the art are skits. But a lot of people would listen to the album, be like, yeah, it's a good album, blah blah blah, but it's a fucking masterpiece. I'm gonna give this album a strong 9 out of 10. It's an absolute masterpiece. All hip hop people need to have this in their collection. Good Kid, Mad City. So there's 12 tracks on it, right? It opens up with a prayer, and then it goes into like the song. The first song is just about him and a woman, and then, like, as I say, I try and do these reviews quickly because I don't want to be here going on about 20-30 minutes about a song review, or an album review. I like to just jump in quick, say what I say, jump off, and then if you're mad into hip hop and shit, you can go listen to the album and be like, oh shit, yeah, he's right, I didn't cop that. So anyway, the opening track, it opens up with a prayer, right? Then the first track is about him. I think he's about 17 in the track, and he's thinking about like his first bit of pussy he's gonna get and stuff like that and all. And then the song ends with his mom then ringing him, and it's in one of the, this is where you have to pay attention to the other story that's going on. So the song ends, and then his ma rings him, and his ma's looking for the car, and his dad's in the background looking for his dominoes and shit like that and all, right? So you have to pay attention, because these little skits that happen at the end of each song go out through the whole album, but there's a little story behind this album with stuff like that, right? So at the end of the song, he looks in the mirror and there's a car behind him and stuff like that. So it ends like that, but that continues on throughout the whole album with these little stories and skits like that. Number 2 is Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. It's a real chill kind of a song, like. But at the end of the second song, it goes back into the end of the first song from the outro, with when the car is pulling up behind him and stuff like that. Number 3 is it's called Backseat Freestyle. It's actually one of my favourites on this. It's a fucking banger of a track. Hip hop. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, this album came out in 2012, for fuck's sake. I shouldn't happen to be doing these reviews. Like, people should be knowing this shit. Like, but it's just the amount of people that I talked about, and it's like, yeah, the album was deadly, but what did you think of the other little story that was going on? And a lot of them didn't seem to know it, so this is why I'm doing it, right? But anyway, number 3, Backseat Freestyle. It's a fucking banger of a track. It's one of my favourites off the album for sure, right? Then it goes into track number 4, The Art of Peer Pressure. The beat switches up in this track, and then when the beat switches up, he's telling a story. He's basically talking about what he's doing when he's with his mates, and what they get up to, driving around, smoking fucking weed in the car, drinking and shit like that, you know what I mean? And then they get up to some dumb shit, you know. We've all been 17, late 18, you know, early 20s and all, still fucking, you know, we all know what we do be doing when we're with our mates driving around in the cars and shit like that at that stupid young age. So they do a robbery or something like that, and the skit comes in then again with his mother then ringing him, and she's like, shit. He's like, actually, well, I'm gonna get arrested. I might have to tell me man now. This is we might be getting arrested, but they end up taking a left, a right, a left, a right, and a left, a right again. They lose the police that ends up coming up. That ends up coming up on them and shit like that, but they lose the police. So the song ends and it goes into the other story, about where his mother like is kind of ringing him now at this stage, and she's looking for the car, and he's thinking in his head, I'm gonna have to tell me mom now, I might be getting arrested on me first case, but they end up losing the police. So the fifth track then it kicks into Money Trees, and stuff like that, and it's like the chorus is pretty good. It's like everybody respects the shooter, but the one in front of the gun lives forever. You know what I mean? Because we see that every day, people running up on people, shooting people dead and all. And you know, all they're doing really is shooting you out of your body, and you're heading straight to heaven, in my opinion. Because to me, the body is a fucking vessel. You know what I mean? There's life after death. We live in the body. We're only here. You know what I mean? In my opinion, not to be getting too mad spiritual or deep on you, but you know, we're here, like the earth is a playground that was made by God, you know. So if somebody runs up and shoots you, or you die in a car crash, or you get stabbed, or you get in, however you go out, you know what I mean, you don't die, you know what I mean, your soul pops out of the body, you go back to where you came from, heaven. Anyway, not to get, as I said, too deep or spiritual and stuff like that. So the one after that then is Poetic Justice featuring Drake. And actually, now that I'm talking about it, right, I'm not a Drake fan, right? I'm not into Drake. He's one or two alright club songs that you have to put on for the women and that when you're chilling with them and stuff, but I am not a Drake fan. Now, Drake is on this track. In fairness, he kills it on this track. But anyway, that the Poetic Justice track ends with the song ends with basically going back to the story from the start and stuff like that. So you have to pay attention. So I'm doing this in two parts, right? So there's 12 tracks. There's a little story going on in the background. He's out, there's 12 tracks, and then I'm stopping at track 6 here because I don't want this going on too long. So the 12 tracks are doing what they're doing, but if you just listen to number 1 to 6, you're gonna get number 1 to 6 tracks. But within them 6 tracks, there's a story of his ma ringing him, wanting the car back. The dad's looking for the dominoes. Then he's driving around, obviously looking for his first bit of pussy. And then his mates pull up, and then he's driving around with them then. And they're just driving around, smoking weed, drinking and stuff like that, and they get stopped. They do a robbery, and his ma rings again, and they think, oh fuck, I'm gonna get busted on this one. And they lose the police then in the chase. And then the songs do what they're doing, and this story then gets a little bit more deeper, that what's happening in part 2 of the review, and the album and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is part 1 of 2 review on the Good Kid, Mad City, because a lot of people that I've been talking to about classic albums didn't actually understand they understand the 12 tracks alright, but they don't understand the story that's going on behind the 12 tracks with the little bits put in there. But yeah, so we'll end it with the halfway with Poetic Justice featuring Drake. The rap battle between Kendrick, Lamar and Drake. Stop. But listen. I'm not a fan of Drake, but he does his thing on this album. But I don't know the full story of what happened with Kendrick and Drake. But to real hip hop fans, like, have you been hearing the beef that's going on between Drake and Kendrick Lamar? Late last year, the two of them were sending rap battle after rap battle, this after this after this. And this is what I love about hip hop. It's not about going up and shooting someone dead and stuff like that. It's about wordplay, writing rhymes, bouncing words off each other like people do fucking playing tennis, like bouncing back and forth and that. Seeing how you can twist the words, bend the words, do wordplay, come up with stories while rhyming and all. This is why I love hip hop. It's fucking deadly. Um, it's not all about violence and killing and shit like that, you know. But honest to God though, Kendrick Lamar in a rap battle with Drake. Now I've listened to the rap battles going on between them, and in fairness, the first one or two Drake was kind of doing all right. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of Drake, but he was doing all right against Kendrick. But there's no comparison to who is going to win that battle if it continues. Kendrick is just too good. He's one of the greats. Um, and that's the crack with that. I just had to put that in there with the Kendrick and Drake beef. Um, so hang on a minute. Yeah, it just ends with that. Yeah, on the halfway through with that, I'm just making sure that I did cover the 6 songs. So, um, yeah, look out for part two. I'm gonna do part two soon. But real hip hop fans, I know you have to know the story going on behind this album. That's why it's considered a masterpiece. Strong 9 for me, 100%. Peace and God bless.